So let's talk about what it means to love our neighbors. I know you've probably seen that billboard campaign, the black billboards with the white letters jumping off of it, and it's always signed God. And there's one that says, "Don't make me come down there." That's the one I like because that's the one that reminds me of when I was a child. My parents probably weren't the smartest to decide to take me and my brother across the country from Louisiana to Los Angeles in a 1957 station wagon. And somewhere in the desert, I threw his little gun out the window. And I don't remember what he threw out the window of mine, but he decided he was going after his gun. And my mom turns around and looks at us and says, "Don't make me come back there." So that's what I think of. The God that says, "You know what, I'm just about to hear with it." So hang on there and see if we can't get this right. There's also one that says, "That love thy neighbor thing, I meant that." Many times we take that command to love our neighbors to mean neighbors that are different from ourselves. Maybe for me that would be my homeless neighbor or my addicted neighbor. Maybe it's a different religion like my Buddhist neighbor or my Jewish neighbors. Or maybe it's one of my conservative neighbors who think differently than I do on a number of topics. But thankfully, some neighbors are much easier to love. They think like us. They talk like us. We're like peas and carrots. You put us together and we just click. But the neighbor that I want to focus on today, it could be one of those neighbors that I just listed, but it also could be one of the neighbors that's present right here with us today. One of the one that ends up being the unfortunate oil in our water. You know how that is. Anytime you get around them, you get all beated up. And if they come close to you, then you kind of try to nudge them back their way, right? I know you can probably call a name to mind that this triggers for you. They may be serving on the same committee or married into your family, or maybe they're a part of your family of origin and you just have to live with them. And you don't click for whatever reason. It can be truly hard to love these folks. We try to include them in what we're doing. We try to get to know them better so that maybe we can have some empathy for them, find some common ground. But generally, we just end up in the same place that we started from, frustrated and filled with aggravation. I'm sure that if you thought about it, you could probably offer up a diagnosis for me of the problem. It might sound something like, "She is so nosy," or "He is way too insensitive," and the one you hear a lot, "They are so closed-minded." You see, it is so hard to look inward when we're faced with issues with our neighbors. But part of that's not all our fault. Our physical makeup points us outwards. Our eyes look outwards, our ears curl forward, some of them more than others, and our arms reach out to others. The only thing that's really made to put something in is our mouths. And then some of us still put more in than we put out. So it's our nature, I guess is the point of that, it's our nature to exert outward. However, the issue to most of our dilemmas with our neighbors lies within us and can be summed up in one word: judgmentalness. Judgmentalness comes out in our daily lives in a number of ways. We're going to talk about three. I'm a good Baptist. We got 3 points. One way is self-satisfaction. Now, this isn't talking about being happy with what you've done in your life, being happy with who you are, but rather it's when we pretend that we don't have the struggles that we have. For instance, let's suppose for a moment that I have an over-beveraging problem. I was talking with can't think of the word, they don't pastor a chaplain. I was talking with a chaplain. She's the chaplain to NASCAR. She informed me that NASCAR do not have drunk people. They have over-beveraged people. So that's where I got that from. So let's say that I have an over-beveraging problem. And someone here also has an over-beveraging problem. And they come to me because they think that together, maybe we can work this out. We can draw on our strengths, support each other in our weaknesses, and we can all get through this together. But when they come to me, I simply respond with how great God is, and how great my walk with God is, and how blessed I am, and I never once allow them inside that place with me where God actually works. And I leave them to feel alone and judged in their weakness. Another way we judge others is through self-justification. We may say to ourselves, I may be a blank, but at least I ain't a blankety blank. Right?
You're a Baptist?
And being Southern, we normally follow that with bless their hearts. But the biblical record gives witness in Romans 3:23 that we've all sinned and come short of the glory of God. And there is no indication in that scripture that one sin causes a greater shortfall than another. So we have no reason to judge where our neighbor is on their journey. And the last way we're going to talk about today that we judge or hamper our love towards our neighbors is through self-preservation. Now, self-preservation is when we try to make ourselves look good at the detriment of another. This is one of the most dangerous ways in my mind that we judge because it sets us up to see ourselves as superior. Does anybody know? We can identify with that? I believe so. This was exactly the problem that Jesus had with the scribes and Pharisees in Matthew 23 when he called them hypocrites because they set themselves at the temple door. They didn't go in themselves, but they didn't let anybody else in either. And Jesus goes on to say, later on in that passage, that because of the way they are teaching, like they're teaching judgmentalness, that the people that they're bringing in to Christianity at that point, they're training them to be just as judgmental. But what happens over time is that it becomes twofold. So where they may be this judgmental, when you get to the next generation, it's twice as judgmental, which goes to the next generation becomes 4 times as judgmental. So you see how that can grow and spiral right quickly out of control. So recently, I had an experience with being judged that I had not encountered before. And it really opened my eyes to the emotion and the damage that it does to our relationships with our neighbors. Has anybody ever heard of St. Baldrick's Foundation?
Yes.
Well, my dad, and my dad was not a child, or at least not when he died, but my dad passed away with cancer in August of 2013. And I was trying to find a way to honor him. And I couldn't quite come up with it. And then I read about St. Baldrick's in an Irish pub one day. And the Irish, when I read up on it, I said, you know what? I can shave my head in honor of my dad. With his, he had some disfigurements with his cancer. And I said, I can do this. So I went out, I let him shave my head. I immediately said, I better go buy a hat. And so Crystal and I, my partner, we took off to Crabtree Valley Mall to find us a nice little derby hat, to wear to church the next day. And we get in there, and the first person I see is a lady that she has on a ball cap. And she's looking at me, and she's like, do you know what I'm going through? As we're walking closer to one another, she's like, are you sick too? is that why your head's bald? And then when she got right up to me, she could see that, no, I wasn't like her, because I still had eyebrows and those telltale signs that I'm not going through chemo. Then, as I walked down, there was, I went to the bathroom, and I had it together. And when I was coming out, it's a very narrow doorway that was coming out. And there was this lady coming out. She was very attractive. She looked like she at least wanted me to think she had a lot more money than I did. And when she saw me, she went, and she rolled her eyes at me. And I thought, what if I had been the lady I had just passed, who was really sick, who had just been treated like they were disgusting? And it got me to thinking about how easily we judge one another. And so I sat there and I pondered that over and over. And then I looked up and I saw a lady that was of some size, like myself. And I looked at her and said, don't you know she shouldn't wear that out in public? And then it hit me. That it really doesn't matter who we are or where we are on life's journey. Judging another person is something that we work with daily. And so I pray that as you leave from here today, that you're able to take this and incorporate that into your daily life and look at how we judge others unconsciously.